So this is where we left the Pong game. We have the paddle and it's just going up and down and bouncing off the bottom and bouncing off the top. Now in this video we want to introduce some keyboard input. So we want to be able to press a key, so for example the U key, and it will go up. And we want to press the D key and it will go down. So it won't actually stop at any point, it will just change direction depending on what key press. Now whenever it gets to the top as well, it won't automatically start bouncing back down, it will just stop waiting for our key input, and the same at the bottom, it will stop at the bottom waiting for the next key input. So I've already gone ahead and I've generated this code. Okay, so what we can do is we'll reset this just now, and I will have a read through the code here. So the file is called Pong7 underscore keypress.asm. Okay, so I've tried to keep it pretty much the same as the previous one, and then we'll only really talk through the updates. So all of these are exactly the same. The symbolic constants for this lot, and these are the symbolic constants as well, the same from the last one. So the new symbolic constants are here. So these are new lines. So we're going to have a step none. Okay, so this is going to represent no key press. Okay, it won't actually stop it, but we need it later on in the program. So it represents no key press, and then we're going to have a number for the memory mapped I/O for the keyboard. So the keyboard memory mapped I/O is FFF0, and then we're going to have the ASCII numbers for the two keys. So the key up, so the small u, is hash 075, and the small d for down is 64. Now these are still just I think they're pretty much the same. We've got our our green, we've got our black, we've got the start position. Slightly different now because we've got step underscore none, and that's in register R4. So excuse me. Now this is still the same, pretty much the same really. We're going to draw the paddle, and what have I done here for the paddle length? Have I kept the length? What I've done is I've changed some of this. Okay, so I've made the paddle length 20, so I decided to make it twice as much. Okay, and also I've changed the length of so if the length of the paddle's changed, it means that a couple of these will have changed. For example, this pad last, it was 0 cross 0900. Now it's going to be double that, so it's 0 cross 1300, and the bottom position has changed as well. So these are just slightly different position changes because the paddle length has doubled. Okay, but ostensibly the program's still the same. So we draw the paddle, and again we go through this process here for drawing the paddle, which is just the same. Okay, and then we're going to go through our main loop. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to accept the input from the keyboard. Okay, so it's looking for an input here for the keyboard. So if we use the memory mapped I/O, okay, then if the number that comes in for the keyboard, it will go into register R5. Okay, so when we tap the keyboard, we're going to have the input coming from the keyboard. It's not going to come from the memory, okay, because that memory location is a special memory location which goes and pulls the keyboard. So it doesn't go to the memory to get a value, it goes to the keyboard to get that value. And of course it's looking for the next line, it's looking for the actual check out and see which value it is. Okay, so just take your time and think through this, because you have to have gone through the course on memory mapped I/O just to understand what's happening there with this line. So it's going to then check whether the up key has been pressed. So if the up key has been pressed, then it jumps to the set up. Okay, so here's the set up here, and then if it hasn't, it's moving down to the next line, and it's going to check and see whether the down key has been pressed. Okay, so if the down key's been pressed, it goes to the subroutine set underscore down. Okay, so if neither of them has been pressed, then it jumps to the move paddle, which is just the moving paddle. Okay, so we'll talk through these three here: jump set, set up, set down, and the move paddle. So the set up, we're going to have the R4 value, which is in effect a test value, and we're going to have it as set up. Okay, so it realize if the up key is pressed in R4, it goes to 0 cross FF00. Okay, so that's in effect the -1 in the y direction. Okay, and then it jumps to the move the paddle, and it would be moving the paddle up. And then the other test here, it sets R4 to step down, so it means that the value for R4 is going to be 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay, so in effect it's actually going to go down 1. Okay, and then it jumps to the move paddle, so it goes down to the move paddle routine. So now we're in the move paddle routine, and the move paddle routine, whether it's going up or whether it's going down, is dependent on how these have been set, okay, dependent on your key press. Now the move paddle here, we're going to first of all check if no paddle has been pressed. So when we start it off, if no paddle has been pressed, it just sits still, it doesn't do anything, okay? So at that point there, if step none, which is no paddle, that there's no input come in for the keyboard, then we just jump up to the loop again, and we sit and we wait for someone to want to do something. If no one does anything, nothing happens, the paddle just sits still, okay, until it's pressed, okay, and then it won't sit still again. Okay, now we move down to the next one here, so it's going to do if there's nothing happened, it's going to check the step. It's going to compare step down with R4, so we're checking to see whether the step down has been pressed or not. So if the key has been pressed, this key's been pressed, it's either been in the up or the down mode, so this is the test to see whether it's up or down. Okay, so we check it whether it's down. Okay, if it is down, it moves to the move down. Okay, and if it isn't down, then it's going to go to the move up. Okay, so this is where we in effect do the test for up or down, and we pass it to the correct subroutine. And then we've got the subroutines, which are move down and our move up, and they're pretty much very similar to what we have seen previously with the move down and move up. So we cancel, or we draw over the very first pixel, we shift the whole lot down, and then we cancel the first pixel, and then we go down to the next pixel, the pixel at the bottom, and then add, well, I suppose in that case we subtract one off it, or we add one on the way down, and we put a little dot on that one so it looks like the paddle's moved. Okay, and then we go through that continual loop of switching this so the paddle moves down. We've seen this in the previous couple of videos. Let's see if there's anything at the bottom here. So has the next top of the paddle reached the final top of the paddle position? So we did the check at that point there, and we jump if equals to the loop, and we'd go through at that point there, we go through the test. This is one thing to note, that whenever we get into this move down, we go in and we will change the paddle position. When the paddle position in effect has been changed, in this case it's moved down, then we'll go back to the loop and see, have we got any other key presses? Okay, now the same thing will happen here. We're going to go to the move up, and in the move up, then we're going to delete off the very bottom position of the paddle, and then add a white dot on to the next one up. Okay, so it looks like the paddle is going up the way. And each time we do this drawing of the dot and removing the dot, afterwards we go and we check the keyboard. Okay, so we don't have any interrupt mechanisms here within this CPU yet, but I was intending at some point to try to go ahead and build something like this. So it means that at all times we're always going to get and poll the keyboard. So we're going to have to go and check and see, has it been pressed? Move it. Has it been pressed? No. Move it. Has it been pressed? No. Move it. And continually do that every single time. So every time there's a movement, we're getting to check and see whether the keyboard's been pressed, so that we know whether we have to go and move it in the other direction or not. Okay, so that's basically the end of the program. I've described it all. You'll have access to the program and you can always run it and test it yourself. Now what we want to do is actually run it up and see it working. Okay, so I will we'll actually go through the proper process. So we've got the program here. It's called Key 7 Terminal Run Task Assemble File. It says assembly successful. So we'll go in and we'll load up the program. We'll design user panel. We'll build up the program, edit contents, and we can open. Now it's called P7, so let's have a look and find this. P1, P7 key press, open, user panel, simulate, tick enabled, and that's us ready to go. So let's press the go button. So it's drawing the paddle. Another thing to note as well is that I decided, rather than to draw the paddle at the top of the screen, I thought I'll just stick it initially right in the middle of the screen. Just looks a little bit better. So nothing's going to happen here at all until I press the down key. So let's try. Okay, so I pressed the D, but that's obvious. I've got the caps lock on, so that's never moved. So I'll take the caps lock off. I'll press the D, and let's see, nothing happens. DU, DU, DU. Nothing's happening. So there's obviously a mistake here somewhere. You'll have to give me a wee second just to check and see exactly where this error has occurred. Okay, I see the problem that I'm having, and it's pretty basic. In order for the key to work, I can't just sit in here and press U or press D. Okay, I have to actually get into the keyboard. So I have to click on the keyboard to let it know that the keyboard is actually active. So now the keyboard is active. Now I can press the down key and it's moving down. Okay, so this is quite exciting whenever you're actually able to get some user input, and it stops at the bottom and then press U and it goes back up. When it gets to the top it should stop. And then we can go down and we can continually press up and down. So at this point here it won't stop anywhere other than whenever it hits the top or the bottom, so it's always continually moving, and I think I'll leave it at that so that it's always just a moving paddle, and we just change the direction with up or down. Now we could potentially change the direction with just one single key, okay, each time we press it, but I think it's a bit more interesting if you actually have an up and you have a down. Okay, so I'll stop this, simulate, and we'll stop this for the moment, reset it. Now that's everything for this video. Again, we'll have a look ahead and we'll see what we can get to on the next video. So on the next video, we're going to have this Pong 8. So I think what we'll do is we will have the paddle, which we can control in the up and down mode, and we'll also have a ball. So we'll have a ball coming in from one side, and what we'll do initially is we'll just let the ball just go all the way through, okay, and then back to the beginning and all the way through. So we can move the paddle up and down. As the paddle moves up and down with the keys, we'll just have this ball passing through, but the ball won't interact at all with the paddle. Okay, we'll need to have a sort of a collision test, but we won't get onto the collision test until the video after the next one. So that's all for this video. Thank you for listening. I'll get you on the next video. Goodbye.